This is the prosecutor's show. I thought the prosecutors made an extremely strong statement, both as to the strength of their case and as to the reason why Mr. Epstein is a serious flight risk and danger to the community and ought to be detained pending trial. I thought the defense arguments that this was somehow barred by what happened in Florida doesn't work. This is a new case. The Florida non-prosecution agreement made absolutely clear that the Southern District could proceed. So I think this is a case that is on its way. I think, as the magistrate says, to put the word only before statutory rape doesn't fit. This is exactly the kind of abuse of children that the laws were designed to prevent. And to try to diminish it in any way by referring it as statutory rape, I think misses the entire point of what this prosecution is about.
Are your clients gratified that these charges have finally been brought?
Our clients are extremely gratified that these charges have finally been brought. As many of you who have been covering this know, this is something where our clients have been subject to an enormous amount of verbal abuse that compounded the sexual abuse that they suffered. They have been attacked, their credibility has been maligned, and this is very, very welcome and gratifying vindication for them.
Some of them were in court today with you?
There were a couple of victims in court. There were many victims, obviously, who were not in court.
Yes, this is a great day for victims, and I'm humbled and inspired by their voices, and I am gratified to get to read a statement on behalf of first Virginia Jeffrey and second Sarah Ransom, both of whom are victims and clients. So this is Virginia's statement. After years and years of trying my best to shine light in the dark place of sex crimes that Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell and their circle of powerful people committed against me and girls just like me, finding the words adequate enough now to express how I feel is a tall task. But I can say without hesitation that I am deeply pleased that the federal prosecutors in New York have arrested Jeffrey Epstein, and our case is taken in a serious way. It is time for Jeffrey Epstein and those who participated in these sex crimes to be brought to justice. And this statement is from Sarah Ransom, another victim. The news of my abuser's arrest today is a step in the right direction to finally hold Epstein accountable for his crimes and restore my faith that power and money can't triumph over justice.
Look, it was an informative first day, and that's what we were here for. Information. The other reason that they were here is if there's anybody else who was also injured, they want them to come forward. I don't even know that they are the name Jane Doe's in this indictment. We were here for information, and we got information. It's a good first start.
Ladies, how are you feeling? How did you feel during the arraignment?
They're good. They're good. Look, they're very courageous, and they want to encourage others to come forward. That's why they're here. It sounds like there are a lot of others that were anonymously named in the indictment, and if you exist, come forward. Call the FBI.
How do you feel after today?
Well, it's a good first start. I learned information the same way that you did.
I certainly consider that trafficking. There was an argument in court by Mr. Epstein's lawyers that this was not quintessential sex trafficking, whatever that is. These were girls who were procured, transported across state lines, kept under supervision. Girls as young as 14, as you just heard, who were way below the age of consent. They were lent out to people who Jeffrey Epstein wanted to have relationships with, gain favors from. This was as commercial a sex trafficking operation as you can imagine.
Well, both support the government's position of no bail. Both believe not only is he a flight risk for the obvious reasons, but also that that is the only way to secure the safety of the community. And each had a story to tell, a personal story to tell that is similar to that of many other victims.
The most powerful testimony was not from any of the lawyers in there. It was from these two brave women who were prepared to step forward and talk. And it took a lot of courage for them to do that. I think both Brad and I are enormously proud of them. And they told the story about how, as young teenagers, they were abused by Mr. Epstein and asked the court not to release him pending trial. Well, I think there are several things to say about Mr. Epstein's argument in that respect. First, there's a congressional statute that creates a presumption that somebody accused of these crimes should not be released. Second, the fact that no one's proven what he's done over the last 14 years is not proof that he wasn't engaged in improper conduct. Third, the conduct that he has engaged in is horrific. And it is exactly the kind of conduct that Congress had in mind when it said people that engage in this conduct, there should be a presumption that they not be released. I don't know anything about those photographs other than what you've heard in court, but certainly anybody that keeps thousands of pictures of nude and semi-nude children in his home is somebody that I think could present a danger to the community.
Pornographic trophies doesn't seem like the best way to rehabilitate oneself. She felt moved to speak and the need to speak because if this decision comes down to the wire and it's a close call, she at least wants her voice to be heard and for the judge to hear from her that there is a real danger presented. And hearing directly from a victim is the only way that anyone's really going to understand what it really means. She came from Florida here only for this purpose. So that says a lot anyway.
Today is a day of power and strength.
It took a lot of courage for them to write the statements and to have their voice heard, and I really commend them for being here because Jeffrey Epstein's death, whether it was a suicide or murder, does not end the case, does not end their fight for justice. It does not end their feeling that they were manipulated and victimized and that they were child victims of Mr. Epstein. So today they spoke truth to power. They spoke truth to what happened to them. I think it was unprecedented. Unless I'm missing something, some people call it unique, because generally the victims only have an opportunity to give their victim impact statement after a conviction. And then, of course, they have a right to give their victim impact statement as a matter of law, federal law, state laws. Here, there was no conviction because the defendant is deceased. And yet this court felt, and the victim should be heard. The court opined early on in this proceeding as to whether or not, that some people thought that maybe the victim shouldn't have an opportunity because there's been no conviction. Obviously, this court differed. And I'm so glad that he did. I mean, that meant so much to these victims. So many of them have been living in fear and in silence. Well, the baby is not giving a statement today. Hi. Yeah. And Mama is not either, but Mama was in court. Probably one of the few times she's ever been separated from the baby, right? Yeah, a little. It says strong like mommy. Okay, so that's what, she's how old?
5.5 months.
She's 5.5 months. So now the mama does not wish to give a statement, but she is a victim. It's important to her to bring her baby because she has no child care and she loves her baby, protects her baby, wants to keep her baby safe. And so, you know, there she is with her baby, being a great parent and a brave victim all at the same time. Thank you so much. All right. Bye-bye.
It was so powerful in there, hearing all the other victims and very similar stories that I have endured. I wanted to thank the judge for letting us speak, having some closure. It's still going to be a rough road, but I also wanted to thank all the survivors that had reached out to me as well and telling me their stories. It really means a lot. I'm here for anyone that went through something similar.
Thanks, guys. Thank you. We're not taking any questions. Thank you.